Mike.
Hey, Bruce.
Hey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm contemplating some of the great wonders of the world.
Well, it looks to me like you're trying to eat some grass.
Well, it sure isn't working out very well. I just don't think we give cows enough credit, Bruce.
It's amazing too. How is it that they can eat grass and live off of it and we can't?
I don't know, but it doesn't taste a whole lot like steak to me, I'll say that. It's
Yeah,
not
no
that
doubt.
great. I don't know, Bruce. I know they've got lots of different compartments in their stomach kind of thing, but they're breaking this grass down and making protein out of it, and we just can't. So,
Have you ever seen a cow chewing its cud?
I have.
So laying out there under a tree somewhere, and you see this lump in their throat, and bloop, and then they start chewing.
That's never a good thing whenever that happens to me, right?
No, not good for you, but like for a cow, what are they doing, right? They're chewing that grass that they just ate a little while ago, right?
Yeah, it's kind of gross. I see it a lot here in the pasture.
Yeah, just chewing it again, because it's got to be broke down more to go back in that. You said they have special stomach, like they have 4 stomachs basically. We have 1 stomach, they have 4 stomachs. The first one's like a great big, like a fermentation vat, right? It's got a bunch of bacteria and all kinds of organisms in there that help break this grass down so they can actually use those nutrients. They are devised to digest those things, just like sheep and goats and, well, even deer are the same way, right? So yeah, it's a pretty neat thing because they can pull nutrients out of these plants, and ultimately, whether you're eating a plant or a meat, it's coming from the plants ultimately, right? Well, they grazed it or something to start with.
Thank goodness for the cow, Bruce. I don't want to eat this stuff any longer than I have to. I guess it's all right to chew on, but I don't want to eat it. They turn this stuff into meat and they turn it into milk, but I'm sure there's things in my pasture that are better than others for getting that protein and things built. Would you care to show me some stuff?
Yeah, let's walk around in this pasture and see what we can find.
All right. Bruce, I'm not completely ignorant about pastures. I mean, some of these things that we're walking through here are higher in protein than others, and they're better feed than others, and they're more nutritious than others, so they make protein easier. I get that, and so that's where the milk and the meat comes from. But I'm not real sure which ones I should be growing the most of.
Well, this pasture, if you look right here, there's a lot of different variety of things here, and this pasture in general has been a little bit overgrazed. And when you overgraze pastures, you tend to get more weeds because animals graze down what they like, and then the weeds can just kind of come on. The things they don't like can just grow, and so we're seeing a lot of that here. But right here in this spot, we see several different grasses. I know you recognize several of those. There's, what's that, fescue?
That's fescue. I had some orchard grass here. I know that's kind of like the queen.
Orchard grass there, yep.
And I really like seeing the red clover.
Yeah.
The cows really seem to enjoy that.
Very, very highly nutritious for the livestock. There's some bluegrass down here. It's real tight. Bluegrass is a little more low-growing grass. It's real tight down there.
And I've got some species here that I know the cows won't even touch. I mean, they absolutely say like for this one.
Yeah, and fortunately, sheep, if you have sheep, will eat this. But this is ironweed and it's just getting started. But here in another few months, how tall is that going to be? What, 6 feet probably, isn't it?
Yeah, it usually gets nose high or more on me.
Yeah.
That makes it 4 foot 2.
And it's got a great big stem, deep taproot, and right back here is another one that livestock don't generally like to fool with.
Yeah, this one will bite you back.
Yeah, it's got some little thistles there. In fact, it's called a thistle. I think that's a bull thistle.
I mean, I can understand exactly why I wouldn't want that one in my mouth. That one looks like it would definitely bite me back.
But surprisingly, cattle and sheep and goats can eat that kind of stuff if they want to, even with those thistles. They can do that. There's a lot of other plants here. There's some ragweed right here, which cattle don't necessarily like too much, and that'll tend to just grow and get bigger. It's small and tender now, but it'll get tough, and they won't eat that. I see some things over here, Mike. Let's go over here and look. Some more of these plants, and a lot of people think that just because it's not a grass that it's bad, it's a weed. Weed is just a plant that's out of place, but there's a lot of plants that people consider weeds that animals still eat, because like right here, what's that, Mike? You know what that is.
Well, that's broadleaf plantain. I hear a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, and livestock will eat that. has good nutritional value to it. There's a narrow leaf plantain that's also right here. Where did that go? There was a dandelion here somewhere. Here it is.
So I hate those things in my yard, right?
Right,
Or do I hate them? I'm not sure.
I don't know, but in a pasture, that leaf right there, that's really good nutritional value, that dandelion leaf.
My grandmother used to make greens out of these.
Yeah.
Once again, grass is not for me.
Yeah. And then here we have this buttercup, and buttercups are real common in lots of places in West Virginia, and they're really not liked by most livestock. Sheep will actually eat those. If you have buttercup, sheep will eat those, and they will get rid of them over time, but cattle generally will not.
So I read that buttercups are actually a little bit toxic for cattle, and it makes their mouths actually have a rash or ulcerate a little bit even.
Yeah.
So how does it affect sheep that way too? Or are sheep just too silly not to? How do they not eat it?
Well, sheep, it doesn't affect sheep that way, and cattle just avoid it. And that's why you don't have a lot of toxic problems with buttercup, because they just avoid it. Right over here's another interesting plant. You know what that is? That's
Yeah, this is cucklebur.
yeah.
So that's really nice and tender now, but later it'll make those nice big things that stick in the wool on the sheep. So I used to shear sheep. When you'd crouch them down, they'd have them tangled in their wool, and they're so irritating.
You know the inspiration for Velcro is actually from those things.
I did know that actually.
Those little hooks that Velcro. Somebody said, you know what? We can mimic that and make a product, and that's where Velcro came.
It all started right here in the pasture, didn't it?
That's right. Now let's see what else we can find. Hey, looky there, Mike. Right there's our old friend, the multiflora rose.
Yeah, we've got several of those growing around too. I hear a neat story about those, Bruce. I understand they're not really native.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, the story about these is really interesting. How they got to be in West Virginia is that they were introduced back in what was the 30s, I guess it was, as a living fence. They said, you know, you can plant these and you don't have to build fence. Just plant these where you want your fences, right?
I do recall that story. I've got a lot of them in my fences. That's just because I can't cut them down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it works good because look down here. What's going to go through that? Nothing's going to go through that. Nothing you're going to keep as livestock anyway.
No, the cows haven't even grazed in it. It's too tight for them to graze it.
But what's the problem?
Well, it's all over my field now. It actually reproduced after they said it wouldn't, I guess.
Yeah, so those seeds that they said that you put it in your fence row and then they just spread everywhere. The birds eat the seeds and they spread them, and so it's a huge weed problem in our state and other states, and not much of a beneficial plant. And you know, cattle won't eat it unless it's really tiny and soft. Sheep and goats might, but yeah, it's a big weed problem.
So my sheep and goats do hit it just a little bit.
Yeah.
They tend to like it, especially when it's got these young shoots on it like this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it is a thorny species.
Let's see what else is out here.
Bruce, I haven't met a farmer yet that didn't want to take care of their property, and as such, I mean, they're really kind of like the first environmentalists, really. They want to take care of things. I want to take care of things. I know there's got to be some ways that I can manage this pasture a little better to make sure the cows have good things to eat and that we aren't getting lots of weeds and degrading things. Do you have any suggestions?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, this pasture has really been overgrazed, and what that means is it's just had too many livestock for too long a period of time. You know, so it needs a rest period. It needs livestock off of it so the grasses can grow. And so it's a pretty common problem to have pastures overgrazed. And so part of the basic management is just to try and manage your pasture so that they have an opportunity to rest, basically, and grow. And when they do that, you know what else they're doing? They're sending roots down, which when they're continuously grazed, they don't have a chance to send roots down deep. So it's all part of just trying to manage that grassland to get the most benefit out of it, and what's best for the grassland too.
Well, we can certainly divide this paddock up. Maybe we could move from one to the other as it starts to get short, because it does make a lot of, as we can see, there's a huge assortment of weeds here.
A potpourri of weeds.
A potpourri of weeds. A plethora.
A plethora. There you go. Let's go on.
I appreciate you walking with me, Bruce. We've sure seen a lot of grass, Bruce, and a lot of weeds out here in this field. It's amazing that those ruminant cows and those ruminant sheep are able to turn that into meat and milk.
It really is. And I mean, again, you think about the system that does that, that ruminant Again, it has 4 stomachs. So they have a rumen, a reticulum, an omasum, and an abomasum. And that's the names of the 4 stomachs. And the rumen, like, is a big fermentation vat. Each one of those stomachs has its own role. Some of them absorb moisture, some of them introduce acids to help digestion. Some of them, like the rumen, have bacteria to help break that fiber down.
The thing's a living organism, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And the abomasum, the last one, is the one that's most like a human stomach. It kind of has the same functions as a human stomach. But yeah, it's a really fascinating system that can digest this cellulose that's in these forages.
Well, I'm glad they do it, because I've been chewing on some grass here I don't think tastes all that great.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to have to eat that all the time either.
We may have to go get some lunch after this is over. I hear the greasy spoon is open.
Yeah.
So we have lots of grasslands in West Virginia, and I just don't think we give the cow enough credit, because it converts that into something that we can use.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go to the greasy spoon.
Sounds good.